What's happening, Blades? Been looking forward to this one. I've been threatening to do this for a while. Welcome to Scout 'em Out. As I record this, we've just beaten Reading to move 7 points clear. That were our game in hand. We've now got 11 games to play, and just as a bit of a checkpoint for where we are at this point in time, we're all very nervous. And it could, with 7 points clear and 11 games to go, we'd all have taken it at the beginning of the season, but the way we're currently playing versus Borough, who are chasing us down, yeah, it's frightening, to be honest. So this video really is leaning a little bit on my scouting background, but more than anything, it's just a bit of fun. Tinged with what I think needs to happen, if I'm honest. It certainly won't be bang on. I won't get everything right. You may not agree with everything I say. So today we're going to be looking at what do we need, or what needs to happen with Sheffield United squad in going forward, basically, dependent on what league we're in, because we all know we're in a bit of a promotion or bust scenario. If we don't go up, we're massively in the red anyway. So just as a bit of a caveat, I'm not going to be including, at this point in time, the Prince is still the owner. I'm taking this as we're still under the same ownership, which I'm hoping we won't be, and I think all parties are hoping we won't be. And I'm not considering any loans, so obviously we will improve the team and hopefully the first 11 with loans, particularly if we're in the Championship. But these are the permanent changes I would like to see going forward. So, first up is keepers. So we'll look at the Championship team first, and then we'll jump across depending on the positions, and hopefully we'll build from there. So if we are to stay in the Championship, we're obviously in big financial trouble. Can't make any big signings. Again, we're not talking about loans. I think we re-sign Wes as our number one. I'm happy also, taking the financial issues into consideration, happy to sign Adam Davis again as number two. And I would say that probably Amissa or Dewhurst goes out on loan, hopefully to a League One, maybe a League Two side, to get some valuable game time. And the other one could potentially go to a non-league team, which would mean it'd be a pseudo third keeper, because we all know that non-league teams, you can recall the lone player at any time. The only one for me that I would be getting rid of is Jake Eastwood, because he's been on loan at Rochdale, having a bit of a stinker by all accounts. Will never make the Sheffield United first team, and when players are in that category, why are we keeping them around? I know we're going to have to downgrade on some of our overall standards that we've been used to if we're in the Championship, but a League Two struggling goalkeeper is not one of them. So thank you for your service, Jake Eastwood. I hope you go on to have a decent career. You're not in my squad. This is where it gets exciting for me, and we can't get too into it because I think the squads are going to have quite the contrast when we look at it as an overall picture. My theory going forward is similar to what we adopted in the first year in the Premier League under Wilder, which is looking at the best of the Championship and below potentially in some circumstances. Because if the worst happens, and I think the gap is bigger now than when we went up in terms of the quality between the Premier League and the Championship, and if we were to go down after being promoted, we need to give ourselves the best possible sustainable chance of having another go. But obviously we're jumping 2 or 3 pages ahead there. So I'm going to be focusing mainly on Championship prospects, which you'll see. I'm certainly no expert on foreign talent, but obviously we've got it in our locker as a club to pull out an El Ahmedhodzic every now and again. So this is why it won't be like a glove for what I'm suggesting here. But I would go for Seny Dieng at QPR as our main target. I like him. We've had interest in the past. We were quoted around 12 million, I think. And I think considering QPR's financial troubles and current poor state of play, essentially, I think we can get him for cheaper. I'm looking at around 8 million for Seny Dieng, if we can get him for that. I would also like to keep Wes around as a backup keeper. Now, Wes has done well enough for us in the Championship, certainly last year, to say, I'm sorry, I'm not being number 2 to anybody. Maybe Wes sees it as a challenge, somebody like Dieng coming in and, he's beaten out Robin Olsen before, who turned out to be shocking, but at the time it looked as though he was the main man and reputation. We're going to see him through, but he was an awful goalkeeper for us, and Wes ousted him. So the other one I'd like to sign, and I mentioned this on Sheffield United away, and I've been watching him for ages and really, really like him. But typical, as I've come to do this video today that I've been looking forward to doing, he's signed a new contract at Plymouth. It's Mike Cooper. And he's come through their youth team. I'm assuming he's a fan of theirs because he's been at the club 14 years. But he's just signed a new deal with them till 2025. He were out of contract in 2024. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that we can get him. I think Plymouth aren't a cash-rich club. You offer them £2 million and say, we'll send him back to you on loan for a season, maybe even in Championship if they're there then. They'd struggle to knock that back. He's 23, so time's on his side. I think he's a fantastic investment. And Dieng is 28, so coming into his prime. Goalkeepers obviously last longer, but they would be my 2 that I'd go for, my main 2, and try and keep hold of Wes as the backup keeper that stays in the squad while Cooper potentially goes out on loan to the Championship. Right centre-back in both teams is staying the same with another year on Basham's contract, and I think he deserves to see his 10th year with us, but it'll be very rare that he starts, if I'm honest, and I think this is what will happen either way. Anel will be our starting right centre-back. I'm hoping we can hold on to him if we stay in the Championship. It's not guaranteed that we can. He will certainly be an asset that other clubs are interested in, but if we can, in both scenarios, I want the right centre-back to stay the same. This is where it gets tricky because Egan's not done great recently. I still like him though, and I think he will up his levels if we're promoted. I still think he'll be a starting middle centre-back for us. I would like to see him, again, similar to Anel, if we can keep him in both scenarios, he will be my starting centre-back. I'd like to see as well, I've gone back and forth on these. My backup shout for Egan is a bit of a strange one because he's already scored for us this season. And whether they'd let him go or not, I'm not sure. They've got him on the cheap because nobody else wanted to take a punt before his contracts were up. But I really like him, and it's Ryan Porteous at Watford. So obviously he'll be tied up. I think it's the 2027 he's tied up. So we'd have to pay some decent money, maybe up to like 5 million. To get him, and as a backup centre back, is that enough? A lot to pay, but for a 23-year-old with a lot Scottish international with a lot of potential, I think we can get him out of there. And I think in the Premier League, then that's not too much to pay. And in a similar vein to Mike Cooper, I'd like to look at Ronnie Edwards, who's at Peterborough currently. He's an England youth international, and he is, to be honest, I think he will be a great Egan replacement long term. So if we're promoted to the Premier League, Ronnie Edwards would be somebody I'd like to come in. I'm struggling in the Championship, to be honest, for anybody decent in that middle centre-back role, because we're going to be skint. And I think there'll be certain positions, and I get middle centre-back is vital. We know that Anel can play there now from the performance at Tottenham. So rather than a straight 2 for every position, I'm pitching that should Egan go down, Anel will move across into the middle, or should Egan be out of form, Anel will move across, and Bash will come in at right centre-back. Left centre-back, the troubled left centre-back position. Now, another note to mention, I am omitting Jack O'Connell. This doesn't mean I'm ruling him out completely. I'd love for him to play before end of season's out, because apparently he's back on grass doing a little bit of light kicking at ball. I would love to see him again play for United, but I'm not entirely sure, and we've covered this before, on whether not only can he get back fit, that's the first major question, but what level will he be up to then? So Jock's out of this conversation, but I'm hoping that I'm proved wrong on that. My starting left centre-back, and I get that this will cause some controversy, Reece Norrington-Davies is my left centre-back, whether we're in the Premier League or the Championship. Sign him up, get him tied down. He is the future of that position. I also think he's our best left wing-back, which is why I think it'll be quite a controversial call. Some will prefer him at left centre-back, some will prefer him at left wing-back. I love him at left centre-back personally. I think that it just pips in terms of being difficult to replace as well. So I've got Reece there as my main boy. Jackie Longthrow's out for me, and that'll be controversial to some because I think he's had an upturn in form. But Jackie Longthrow's out on the provision that we can get Jake Cooper out of Millwall. He's on a free in the summer, and I think we're going to have to look at these sort of wheeler-dealer deals, if I can say that quite easily, to strengthen our team and give us a fresh impetus. I don't think Jack Robinson is good enough. He's done okay. He's had a bit of a decent spell, but he's got a mistake in him that I just cannot get past, unfortunately. I'm never comfortable with him in possession along the back line. But I thank him for his service, and he's been a bit of a cult hero in recent times. But Jake Cooper would pip him because then you've not only got that aerial threat, but you can also move Reece to left wing back if you think Cooper's a stronger option alongside Egan and Anel. So I think that would be a very strong sort of Championship back line. But if we're promoted to the Premier League, and I'm going for Jacob Greaves at Hull as a backup to Reece, and I think we can get him for around £5 million. I might be wrong, I might be underestimating that, to be fair. But he's not been starting every game for Hull recently. And also as another sort of youngster to strengthen the left centre-half position, I'm going for Cashin at Derby, who's had a really strong season in League One. Derby have now sort of steadied the ship a little bit, but I'm confident that if we chuck a 7-figure sum at them, that we can prize him away, and we can potentially send him out on loan to the Championship as we sort of have our stronger pairing of Reece Norrington-Davies and Jacob Greaves battling it out for that starting left centre-half. Right wing-back is similar to right centre-half in so much as it's staying the same. Baldock is my starter over Bogle in both leagues. I know that splits opinion, and you can swap them out as you prefer, but those are my two. Left wing-back, I'm not a fan of Max Lowe, if I'm honest, but I think in both instances he stays within the squad, and in neither case is he a starter. What I'd like to see is a new left wing back who's comfortable playing in the position. If we're in the Championship, another free transfer that I like, and was a bit of a S-house when he came to Bramall Lane, but I like that aggression. Ryan Manning at Swansea, out of contract, has a good free kick on him, whips in a dangerous cross. I think he'd be a decent signing for us. If we're promoted, I think we level up, and I think we can get somebody like, and this, it doesn't have to be him, because this is one position that I've not settled on fully yet. I'd like it to be somebody like Harry Toffolo, just to strengthen us a little bit more. He's not getting in the Forest setup at the minute, but I think he's one of those that if we were to be relegated from the Prem, then he can come down to the Championship with us, and we're a strong Championship unit. He's a little bit like a younger version of Ender for me. So that means that Ender's time with us has come to an end. It means Jack Robinson's time with us has come to an end. I won't be offering him new contracts. I won't be offering Kieran Clark a permanent deal. And we thank him for the service, but the squad has turned over and it's passed them by, I think. In midfield, I am definitely offering Ollie Norwood a new contract. Yes, he's inconsistent, but he makes us tick. I think we're too reliant on him at times, so when he doesn't perform, we don't perform as a team. But anybody thinking that he's not good enough for us in the Championship is crazy. He's one of the best midfielders in the Championship, and the stats back that up. I think he struggles on the step up to the Premier League, but he's sort of between. He's one of those players for me that's too good for the Championship, not quite good enough for the Premier League, which makes him perfect for Sheffield United because we're a bit like that as a club at the moment. And let's hope it stays that way. Certainly being too good for the Championship, but Norwood stays for me. If we stay down and it's a Championship team, I'm keeping John Fleck. And I don't like saying that because I think Fleck, much like Ender, has come to the end of his cycle. But I think we have to be realistic in what we've got. I also think we're going to have to lean heavily here on youth players and bite the bullet and give them a chance. I'm talking Ollie Arblaster, I'm talking Andre Brooks. And I think that might look a little bit weak for us, but it's the position we're in, and there's a net spend of 0 at the moment, and that's where I think it's going to be. So those are my midfielders. If we're in the Championship, I'm selling Sander Berge because Sander will be sold if we don't get promoted. I think we recoup between 12 and 15 million for him. I'm not renewing Ozzy's contract. I think he's a utility player that's not quite good enough to start in the Championship, and we should only be signing players or re-signing players that are good enough to start in a team. I think we will strengthen this with loans, but obviously that's not the purpose of these videos. I think if we're promoted, it's a different kettle of fish. I'd like to see Lewis O'Brien finally come in because I think he wanted to come. Well, I know he wanted to come. Those were the reports. I'm trying to keep Sander. It may not happen. If you don't want to sign a new deal, I'm selling him. So it's a question mark over Sander. I'm signing Lewis O'Brien. I'm wanting to sign Hamza Chowdhury, but Watford have got a £6 million buy option on him. Now, whether there's any at Dark Arts that we can get up to sort of say there's another club interested and it's us and we're in Premier League. He signed a new deal with Leicester before going out, so he's not actually on a free. He signed till 2024, or they exercised an option on him. And Watford have got a £6 million option, which is dirt cheap for a man of his quality. And he's really coming into his own this year. I also want us to go for Tommy Doyle. Tommy Doyle is a fantastic Championship prospect that probably has deserved more game time this season from us. He's not going to get into the Man City team. As much as I love him, he's not a Man City player. And hopefully he recognises this himself and will want to return to the Blades and if we're promoted and be a part of this squad permanently. But my four, if we have to sell Berge, is O'Brien, Norwood, Chowdhury, which is debatable obviously, and Tommy Doyle. It's exciting, isn't it? I had some shouts for players like Alex Scott and things like that. Obviously, I would love to sign Alex Scott from Bristol City. He's going higher than Blades, I'll tell you now. He will not play in Championship next year. Rumours of Newcastle in for him and other things like that. So we have to get our levels right, which you might question in my next couple of positions. So attacking midfielder, I'm going for a Duffy type attacking midfielder, although I think if we're promoted to the Premier League, then it will be a 3, like it has been in years gone by. In all honesty, I think we're struggling. If we're in the Championship, I think we have to sort of pad it out again with loans, somebody like a McAtee, but Sander will go, as I've said. If we're promoted, Sander will hopefully stay. If he doesn't stay, then my backup options are Callum O'Hare at Coventry, who suffered an unfortunate injury against us, which put him out for the season. I think he's a really industrious number 10. Really causes lots of problems, works well between the lines. I'm not saying he can definitely make the step up to the Premier League, but he's certainly a strong Championship player. And again, it strengthens us if things go wrong for us once promoted and we get relegated. My other one, and I want you to bear with me on this, Keenan Davis as a number 10. Now, he's built like a number 9, traditionally. Watford fans are playing hell about him this season, but faced us with Forest, looked an absolute nightmare. It looks to me like he can do absolutely everything apart from score. That's certainly been the story of his season. So what about playing him as a number 10? And it may not sound as alien to those who have seen what's happened to Chuba Akpom this year. Carrick's put him in more of a 10 role than a 9, and he's absolutely flourished. I think Keenan Davis, with the speed and strength he's got and the ball control, running at defenders from deep, would absolutely terrify him. And then all you have to do is lay the ball off for somebody else to finish it. So that's my wild card, if you like, for a number 10. And perhaps there's a touch of recency bias here, but I'm really liking Tyrese Dolan at Blackburn as a number 10. I think he's potentially an option for us if we go up and they don't. And obviously the one that we come back to, and we've spoken about for a couple of years now, is Chair at QPR, who always seems to make things happen. Let me know what you think, because I'm interested to hear. Now, the Hollywood position, if you like, the one that everybody likes, I think Illiman goes in the summer, promoted or not. I hope I'm wrong. I would love Illiman to stay, because he's the man I build my team around if he stays. So that's my caveat. If Illiman's in, then you can count him in, but I don't think he will be. If we stay down in the Championship, I want us to re-sign Ollie McBurney, and I think we go with what we've got, and that doesn't include Billy Sharp. So I am talking Ollie McBurney, Ryan Brewster, and Jebo and Will Asula as backup. And it's not, that doesn't fill me with loads of confidence, if I'm honest. But it's what we've got, and it's the situation we're in. We're spending no money. We're renewing contracts, but we've sold Berger and we've sold Ndiaye. Much weaker team for it, clearly, but we have made some solid additions, and this would be my Championship team. So let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Are there any other names you'd want us to consider? Now, if we're promoted, this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, you've got me Ndiaye asterisks. I want him in the team, but I think he'll be gone, so I'm counting him out of this reckoning. I still want us to sign Ollie McBurney. I think he's a good backup option for the Prem. I don't think he's prolific enough. I think he'll have set games where he can come in. I think he's also another one of those that will stay if we're relegated and then can sort of come into the reckoning a little bit more. But he's certainly a backup option for me in the Premier League. I think we look at Southampton strikers, and somebody that stands out to me is not Che Adams, it's Adam Armstrong. I think Adam Armstrong might be a decent signing for us if Southampton are relegated. I think we'll have to have a sniff around a couple of relegated clubs. Obviously, we're all hoping Forest go down. But I'll tell you now, if they do, then Gibbs White will not come back to United. He's proven himself in Premier League and he'll go higher than us. So that would be my second option, Adam Armstrong, or somebody of that ilk, because I think we'll be able to get a decent deal on him. My two main boys that I'm desperate to sign, and I think it's achievable, although I think there'll be stiff competition. Cameron Archer, obviously currently at Borough, on loan from Villa, not getting a sniff, and I don't really understand why, because you look at him for Borough and he looks so sharp. Let's sign him. Let's get him on the Brewster deal. I think we can get him for around 12 to 15. You know, give him a sell-back clause, give him a sell-on percentage, whatever we need. Secure him down. Can you imagine him on a 4 or 5 year deal? He's your poacher. He's your Billy Sharp 2.0. And he's partnered by Big York. Yorkeress at Coventry. 20 to 25 million, the big marquee signing that comes in. Fresh, young, hungry. Archer's 21, Yorkeress 24, 25. That for me gives us every chance. And if we do go down, if it all goes wrong, but we've tied these men up to longer term contracts, then we've every chance of bouncing back. So what we've done with this Premier League squad, it's not a huge outlay. Obviously the strikers cost a bit more, which you always expect, but it's not a huge outlay. We've lowered this overall squad age. We've improved the quality significantly, and we've tied players down to longer contracts. That obviously we're in a significant period where a lot of players are out of contract for Sheffield United. I'm waving goodbye to Billy Sharp on this one. In both scenarios, there's nothing that can't be said about that, but I think it will be the end. And those are my two teams. I've thoroughly enjoyed putting them together, to be honest, because leaning into my background, it's just something that I've always enjoyed. A bit of sort of fantasy style signing, a bit of football manager-esque, which I haven't played for years, but I used to absolutely love. Let me know what you think. Who would you sign? Do you agree with a lot of my signings? Does it make you more fearful of staying down and not being promoted? Does it get you excited about being promoted? Let me know. Let me have some feedback on what you think. And if you do like the video, please subscribe. It's much appreciated. And let's just hope it's my Premier League team rather than my Championship team that we're comparing. So thanks for watching, everybody. Come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blade!